my name is Laura and I am the Nerdy Needle. Today I have my WIP parade, I've got a finish, I've got a pattern that I designed myself that I'm working on, so it's basically just a catch-up day. I've got a really cool tool that I've been using that I've talked about before, but I want to bring it up again because it's so awesome. So life in the Pacific Northwest, as you can see, is super bright and sunny. You can see my rose bushes over my shoulder. It's been really hot in the last couple of days. It was up to about 90, which is really warm for Oregon, especially this early in the summer. Supposedly it's going to be a really hot and dry summer, which is not good because of all the fires, but for right now, it's actually just lovely. It has cooled down today, which I really like. I don't like it when it gets super hot for long periods of time, but we rarely get that here. We usually get a few days of hot weather and then it pulls in colder air from the ocean and cools everything down. So it never gets too bad for very long. So what have I been working on? Well, I've been just working on actually 4 projects. My first one is my Redwork sampler. I got a whole bunch done on this. This is from Chloramie. I actually have to back up, I think, or raise it up. And it is on 30 count mystery linen. I don't know what the manufacturer is or what the color is. I am stitching this with Cosmo 245, and I am just really loving this. I really got a kick out of the unicorn, and then there's a bottle of wine, and then there's that cool swan sitting on top of the letter C. So I'm not quite half done. But it's turning out really well and I'm really enjoying this. If linen is something that you want to try stitching, I would highly recommend taking a look at Chloramie designs, because yeah, this is a big project, but you could certainly just as a smaller project just pick one of these motifs like this funky little hot air balloon, and just practice your stitching. Because all this is like stitching a bunch of smalls. So in one evening, I can usually get at least one of these little motifs done. And so I kind of have an in-between finish almost every day on this. So it's a great pattern. It's easy to follow, especially for people who are new to linen. Only having to deal with one color is helpful, I think. And and she, and I'm assuming that it's a she because of the pattern that she designed. She did one over the pandemic, which is something like Fighting My Demons, and it's a bunch of dragons, and there is a knight in the middle that's a woman with long flowing hair and definitely a woman's body on a horse. It's a super cool pattern. I'll put a link in below. I'm definitely eyeing it, and I think I'm going to get it, even though I've still got this one to finish, because it's really cool. And for those of you who are male stitchers, I think it would be a really easy adjustment if you wanted to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with stitching a female knight, but if you wanted to, I think it would be a really easy adjustment to turn it into a man. Just chop off the hair and take off a little bit of the curves, and there you go. So Chloramie Designs, awesome pattern. I really like it. I have my full coverage, which actually spent a lot of time on because I am getting close to done. This is on 18 count, easy count. It's a Vervaco kit that is no longer in production, unfortunately. So I don't know how well this is coming through. It's kind of backlit today. So I am well on my way to getting this finished, and I'm really liking this pattern, and it's just turning out just beautifully. This is like the first section down here that's been getting kind of tiresome because all it is this road, this street. So all it is the light, medium, and dark purple, and kind of a cream color. But on the other hand, it's really fast stitching because I'm only having to run about 3 colors. So, and again, unfortunately, this is no longer in production. I have looked, and I can't even find it on eBay or anywhere else, but Vervaco has fantastic kits, so I highly recommend them. I think they're a Belgian company, and they do a really, really good job. So I really recommend that you check them out. And then, so one of the things that I have been playing around with is designing my own pattern. So it's quite simple because it's my first one. It's going to be a needle case. So I used a pattern maker. I think that's what it's called on my Mac. Tük is needles in Hungarian, which is what my family speaks. So I was pondering whether I wanted to put it in Hungarian or English, and then I realized, hey, it's fewer letters in Hungarian, so it fits better. I might turn this into like a back-stitched, like cursive letters instead of just crosses. But it's turning out really well. This is on 30 count Legacy Mariner's map. And the colors, I picked all the colors myself. So I just went through my bobbins, and I'm in the process of transitioning my floss onto Annie's Keepers. So I just went through and started picking out colors and laying them out and seeing how they go. So I've never done that before, and I think it's working really well. The only issue is I'm off by a thread, and I finally found where the mistake is, so I'm gonna have to do some frogging to get that border to come back around. And then I've been looking online for different ways to make a needle case or a needle book. So I'm probably going to use something like a kind of a gingham, something kind of a pastel gingham or something. So I've been kind of picking through needle book designs all over internet and looking to see how I want to make mine. So, but I'm actually quite pleased with that. As I was thinking about showing this, you know, my first thought was, well, you know, it's not very big and it's only got a few colors and it's very simple. And then I said, you know what? I'm not going to start with that because, you know, we have a tendency to shortchange ourselves. I noticed that with a lot of other women on FlossTube, is that we tend to not give ourselves credit. We always have, I see it in my students. I have a tendency to do it myself. I think, unfortunately, it's one of the ways that women are taught that we need to make ourselves less than who we are. And so, you know, for my first design, this is great. And I'm proud of it, and I really like it, and I think it's cute. And it's working out well, except for that one thread that I missed. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying other things and, you know, expanding out what I can make myself. So I guess that's my little soapbox moment for the day to my fellow stitchers, especially women. I do see some men do it too, but it tend to be more women, where we have a tendency to just not take pride in what we do. We always say, oh, it's not very good, it's not very big, you know, other people do way better stuff, and criticizing your work is perfectly fine. And we definitely, you know, that's definitely something we do, is we evaluate and think about how we can make our work better. But I think we need to all be careful about not making ourselves less than who we are. So my soapbox moment, my teaching moment for the day. And I don't know what the colors are for this. I'm putting together a website. It's kind of half done. And one of the things that I've done for it is kind of like a glossary, a vocabulary list, essentially. Kind of putting on my teacher hat and putting in links to different techniques. So You know, like for example, sticky board, you know, describe what it is and then put the link to a short video on how people use sticky board. So that's kind of what I've been piecing together, and I'm hoping that I will have that up and running like in a week, and I'll obviously share what that is and where it is. Because I think one of the things I find is as I'm looking for like techniques to do, like my finish for today, I used sticky board for it, and I've never used sticky board. So I go and I Google it, and you know, there's these fantastic videos, but they're like an hour long, and then you're trying to scrub through it, trying to find the section that's on sticky board. So I can link just the section from a video that pertains to that concept or that technique or whatever, and then it can turn into a quick reference for people. I think that could be useful. So that's something that I'm working on. And what else have I got? I just turned my page on my, there we are. So speaking of sticky boards, I want to give a shout out to Cindy's Cross Stitch, because she did a really quick and easy sticky board tutorial. It's like 10 minutes long, kind of cut and dry. This is how you use it. I watched it. I'm like, oh, that's easy. Went and bought some stuff, came home, and had no problems following her directions. So thank you, Cindy's Cross Stitch, for your help. I want to talk about my experiences with stitching on linen. So I think at this point I consider myself basically an expert level of doing full coverage. The only thing that I've never done for full coverage is like huge chunks of confetti. I have done like smaller chunks of it, but I haven't done like, you know, half a page of confetti. But I think the way that I stitch, I don't think it would just take me longer to do it. I don't think that I really have to add a whole lot to my technique, and things are turning out really well. With linen, I'm more of like an intermediate stitcher, I think. There's still, I'm still in the learning curve. It's starting to flatten off now. But when I first started, it was definitely, I made a lot more mistakes. I had to frog a lot more. I struggled a little bit with counting my threads and getting my stitches right. So as I've been thinking about my own process of learning how to stitch on linen, one of the things I've kind of realized for myself is that having good magnification is really helpful, because you really do need to see those threads. And even if you have good eyesight, having magnification, especially when you first start out, it really makes things a whole lot clearer. So the one that I use, I've mentioned this before, is, where is it? It's this thing. I got it on Amazon for 20 bucks. It is the Panapo head mount magnifier with light. And the reason I like it, first of all, it comes with like normal glasses, earpieces, but I switched it out to the strap, because when you stitch, you've got your head down all the time, and this thing does have a bit of weight to it. And if you just use the earpieces, then all of that weight ends up sitting on your nose, and that gets a little bit uncomfortable after a while, but the strap really takes that off. The nose piece is flexible, so it bends. And I actually, if I've got like a super long stitching session, I will actually just bend the nose piece a little bit just to put the pressure on a slightly different part of my nose. I'll also like adjust the strap just to kind of shift where things are pushing on my head. It's got a light, it's not charged right now, but it's got a 2-setting LED light right here. The LED, this thing like ratchets up and down so you can actually aim that light. It charges off of a USB, and the battery life lasts quite a long time. And it's actually a good enough light that like on lower count fabric, I actually tried it out and I was stitching in bed just with my bedside table lamp and this, and it was enough to be able to see what I was doing. So the light is quite good on it, and the battery actually lasts quite a while. It comes with these detachable lenses, and this whole thing ratchets too, so it tips up and down like that, and then the lens bit actually will bend also, so this thing, it goes up and down like that, and then, oops, and then this piece ratchets up and down. That's probably the only issue it has, is that the lens falls out a little bit easily, but it's plastic, and they're actually very good quality optics on this plastic. I have no complaints. It comes with a box of lenses that go from 0.5, no, they go 1.0, 1.5. Echo, stop. Sorry. They go 1.0, 1.5, 2.0, 2.5, and 3.5, and they come with this cool little case that contains all your lenses. So if you're an Ada stitcher like I am, and you're pondering trying linen, this would be one of the first places I would go, is to get some magnification, because you need to be able to see enough to count the threads. It's not just finding the hole like it is in Ada. So if you get magnification, stitching on linen is pretty darn straightforward, but I think this is one of the keys. Oh, so, and no, I have nothing to do with the Panapo company. It's just a really great tool that I found that I wanted to share. And then my finish is my first foray into stitching with soie d'Alger, and this is a modern folk embroidery. This is Quaker Medallion. It's on 37 count squash blossom. I believe it's legacy linen too. And it's 2/2 with soie d'Alger 115. And 2/2 on this high count is a little bit much. I definitely found that I had to cut my floss shorter than I usually do, because I was getting more fraying from the fabric, just the thread going in and out of those smaller holes. But I really like the coverage on this. So I'm really glad I did 2/2. I think it turned out really well. It would actually be kind of interesting to see what this would look like with just stitched 1/2. But I really like stitching with silk. I was hesitant to try it because, you know, ooh, it's silk. And I thought it would be like really finicky. It's really not. It's the only thing it frays easier than cotton does. So, but the solution for that is just to use shorter lengths of floss, and that solves that problem. But I haven't had any problems with it snagging. That's one of the things I heard, is that, you know, if you have a little bit of rough skin on your hands or something, that it'll catch on your skin. I haven't found anything like that at all. I haven't tried soie 103 yet, because I'm kind of looking forward to trying higher count fabrics, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. So that is my finish, which I'm really proud of. I really like it, and that's going to be a birthday present for a dear family member. So I'm really looking forward to giving that to him today. So that's basically where I'm at with all of my projects. What am I doing next? I can kind of sense the end of the road with my street scene, so that's probably where I'm going to be putting a lot of time. I think I can probably get that done in the next week or so. There's really not that much left, and like I said, there's big sections where it's only a few colors, and that just goes a lot quicker. tonight, I think what I'm going to do is come home and frog all of this out and figure out my mistake, because that's been really bothering me, because, you know, it just, I came all the way around and I'm like, oh, I just have one more stitch. And then I look at it and I'm like, oh, dang it. So it happens to all of us. And then I'm going to keep working on the, on my letter chaos. The red work sampler. I'm in the middle of kitting up a big Scarlet Quince project. It's an Audubon hummingbirds. So it's not going to be full coverage, but like it's going to be challenging, I think. So I need to finish kitting up all of the floss and transferring it over onto my Annie's keepers. And then the big thing that I'll have to do is to grid the fabric, because it's just otherwise it just gets too hard. So I use Sulky Sliver. I sew that in. I don't use the pens, because I've had problems with that in the past, and I will never grid ever grid with one of those washable marker pens again, because I actually did have that happen where a wedding present it was beautiful, and then after, luckily it was before I gifted it, about a week of me just enjoying it before the wedding, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, what is that? And the lines had come back because it had gotten warm or whatever. So I was able to get it out, but it was a pretty stressful chunk of time, because I was worried that I would lose that project because of the lines coming back. So I will never do that again. Sulky Sliver takes significantly longer to put in than the pens, but when I consider the amount of work that I'm going to put into this project, it's probably going to take me at least a year, probably more. A few hours with sewing in Sulky Sliver is really not that big of a deal. So that's what I'm working on next. And then I bought a sampler from Hands Across the Sea. Let's see if I can find, what is that thing called? I might not be able to find it here. It just came out, but it's really pretty. It's the first one that is continental. Oops, let's see, is it here? Oh, here it is. It is Mary Louise Piret, 1911. And I really just love the colors. I'm waiting for some linen to come in. So this is the, oops, wrong page. So that is the next one, and I'm gonna do all of this in soie d'Alger. So I have yet to decide exactly what count fabric I want. I'm leaning on a little bit higher count for me, so heading into the 40 plus range. I'm starting to get a little bit confident. We'll see how that goes, but I'm really looking forward to this. The colors on this are just lovely. And I love watching. If you haven't ever watched Nicola Parkman, she is so much fun to watch. She always makes my day better when I watch her, because she's always so passionate about what she's talking about, and just so cheerful. And in this past year, that has been a godsend, to say the least. So that's where I'm at. I hope you enjoyed my WIPs and my finish and my future plans. And yeah, if you're getting into linen, get a pair of these. You won't regret it. It's worth the 20 bucks. So that's it for me. Until next time, have a good day.